I want to ask you something. Not the version of you that presents well, not the version that has the right answers, the quiet version, the one that's there at 3 a.m. or in the mirror on a bad day. Do you believe truly in the place underneath everything that you are fundamentally, inherently enough? Because here's what I've come to understand after 20 years of this work as a therapist. Most people who struggle with addiction, depression, anxiety, and self-sabotage share one thing in common. Not a lack of information and not a lack of desire to change, a quiet, relentless background belief that they are not enough, that there is something fundamentally wrong with them at the core. And that belief has a name, and it is called shame. And it is the lowest frequency a human being can experience. In the last video, I introduced you to Dr. David Hawkins' Map of Consciousness, a vibrational scale that maps every emotional state to a measurable frequency. And shame sits at 20 hertz on a scale that goes to 1000. It sits below courage, below anger, below sadness, below even apathy and grief. It is the basement of human consciousness. And Hawkins was precise about what this frequency does to the self. At shame, the self is experienced as hateful, irredeemable, despised. This is the distinction I want you to hold very clearly. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am something wrong. Guilt can motivate repair. It can lead to apology, to change, to growth. Shame does none of these things. Shame paralyzes. Shame hides. Shame turns inward and becomes the story of the self, and a self that believes it is fundamentally wrong. And so it will organize its entire life around even escaping that belief or unconsciously confirming it. I want to show you how shame operates, because it rarely announces itself. It doesn't say, I feel shame, I am ashamed. It says, I need a drink to take the edge off. I can't seem to stop eating past the point of comfort. I'm too tired to do the things I know would help. I keep ending up in situations I told myself I'd never be in again. I can't switch my mind off. I can't get out of my own way. I don't know why I keep doing this when I know better. Every one of those statements is shame, dressed up as a behavioral problem. The overdrinking is not about the alcohol. It is about what the alcohol does to the frequency of shame, even temporarily. It lifts it. It blurs it. It delivers for a short time relief from the weight of being yourself. The overeating is not about the food. It is the body reaching for sensation, for comfort, for a moment of softness. in a self-experience that has been hard and relentless for a very long time. The self-sabotage, the unconscious dismantling of the good things as they arrive, is shame doing what it always does, confirming its own story, making the outside match the inside. You do not deserve this good thing. You will ruin it anyway. It's safer to destroy it yourself than to be destroyed by losing it. This is shame running the show from the basement, from the 20 hertz floor. And most of the time we don't even know it's there. Shame lives in the flesh, not just the mind. Shame is not only a thought. It is not only a belief. It lives in the body, in the shoulders that round slightly forward as if to take up less space, in the jaw that tightens when you're about to say something true, in the stomach that drops when someone looks at you in a way that feels like judgment, and in the voice that gets quiet when you most need to be heard, in the chest that tightens when you do something or don't do something that confirms the story. It lives in the nervous system. Hawkins demonstrated that low-frequency emotional states like shame create measurable physical changes in the body's energy and cellular function. This is not metaphor. This is physiology. This is why shame cannot be thought away, because it does not live primarily in the mind. It lives in the tissues, like I said, in the nervous system, in the energy field, in what Eckhart Tolle described as the pain body, the accumulated residue of every unfelt, unprocessed emotional experience. And this is why the work that truly heals it must go there, into the body, into the energy, into the places that talking alone cannot reach. Shame this deep did not begin in adulthood. It begins when a child learns through experience, not words, that who they are is too much or not enough or something wrong. When a little girl is told directly or indirectly that her emotions are inconvenient, that her needs are burdensome, and that her true self must be made smaller in order to be loved, to be safe, to be acceptable. She does not choose to internalize shame. She absorbs it because she has no other choice. The adults in her world were her entire universe. Their judgment was reality. And that absorption, that cellular, wordless, pre-verbal encoding of I am not quite right as I am, becomes the operating system, running quietly in the background of every choice, every relationship, every craving, every collapse, every time she reaches for something to make the weight bearable. I need to say this clearly, and I need you to hear it. Shame is a frequency, not a fact. It is a state of consciousness that was absorbed, learned, imposed. It is not the truth of who you are. It is what happened to the truth of who you are when the environment couldn't hold it. And here is the extraordinary thing about frequency. It can change. Not through positive thinking, not through affirmations layered over the top of density, but through genuine clearing at the energetic and somatic level of what has been held in the body and the subconscious for so long. When the density of shame begins to lift, something remarkable happens to every single pattern built on top of it. The craving loses its urgency. The self-sabotage loses its grip. The low mood begins slowly to have gaps. The anxiety quietens, not because life has changed, but because the frequency beneath it has. In the final video of this series, I'm going to introduce you to something very specific, a process called HART, Heart Awakening Revolution Therapy. It is the work I have spent 7 years developing, and it was designed precisely for this, for the density we have been talking about across these videos. Not to manage it, not to talk about it endlessly, to clear it from the body, from the nervous system, from the subconscious mind. And if shame has moved in you today, if you felt a recognition, a tightening, a quiet voice saying, yes, this is not coincidence. That is the beginning of something. I'll see you there. Thanks for being here.